This is TWiT.
This one, I don't. This is one of those fog of war things. I'm not happy with the. Microsoft is not super transparent with this kind of stuff, but they're starting to block access to registry keys, which are tied to features in Windows that are probably probably going to disappear in 24H2, which today are used by companies like, not by Stardock, interestingly, but companies that make third-party utilities to change the taskbar or the start menu or File Explorer back to the old versions, because that code is still in Windows.
Right.
And they haven't done the deprecation job I think they need to, which is come out publicly and say, here's the timeline. If you're using this stuff, stop. I
wonder if they're communicating with them privately, because that seems to be more of their style these days too. Is that they literally?
Based on the reaction of these companies to this stuff,
no.
The answer is no, because the people who are reporting this are the ones who make these apps. So there was a guy from
coming.
He's like, I've never seen anything quite like this. Now the good news is, for now you can work around the blocks. So the makers of these apps can get around this and make it work. And then there's always the apologists. You always get the guys who are like, everything Microsoft does is great. I don't see what the problem is. Who are defending this because maybe this behavior could be used to. You don't want like a third-party app changing your default browser, do you? I'm like, I'm running Windows 11. Who cares what my default browser is? Windows 11 doesn't care what my browser is. It doesn't respect that choice. But whatever the purpose or whatever, this is happening. The problem's going to be when 24H2 arrives. And if, as expected, this code has been removed, we're going to have a whole family of
stuff is going to break.
Third-party utilities are going to stop working. Yeah.
And customers who are going to go, so don't install 24H2.
Yep. So we'll see how that works out. I am not advocating for Microsoft to leave legacy code in Windows necessarily. I don't mean it like that. But then again, the .NET framework 4. Whatever is still in there.
4.8 will be there forever.
WordPad has existed forever.
The VB runtime from 1999 is forever.
Yeah. One of the many antitrust arguments against Apple is its kind of selective distribution of APIs to third parties and how it gives itself some of its own, APIs only for itself, right? That kind of thing. And because it has this stranglehold on the market, it can do this. It can engage in that kind of behavior. And in some ways, this feels reminiscent of that.
Yeah. Didn't Microsoft invent that? I mean,
yeah, they did.
Seriously?
Yeah.
There was a whole Windows secrets books. Right?
Well, so, there's two sides to it. There were always rumors that Microsoft had backdoors in Windows, right? For the government, that was the big one, right? The CIA or the NSA could get into the backdoor in Windows, and also that there were secret APIs. Microsoft has always disputed this, always, and there's been no, look, the Microsoft Windows code base is available to governments, to software part. If you want to, people have been able to see for themselves, like, this isn't necessarily true, but
this is the stuff from the consent decree in 2001.
I think that, a lot of this stuff, honestly, it's tied to what we were talking earlier about Microsoft as a company being big and complex, and how these things, they're not in some in-concert army marching together that did the same song. I mean, a lot of this stuff is vestigial, just left over, it just happens to be there. As a developer on the outside, you'd be like, oh, look, I found this awesome API that does something really fun and I can make this app. It's really cool. And then that API disappears in some next version of Windows. And then, like, you complain, I guess, but they didn't document it. And we can, we're naturally inclined to believe, conspiracy theories. So I don't know.
I know Microsoft undocumented APIs, right? There are APIs they don't publish.
Yep.
Well, that's, that's
just like there are VMs out there that weren't properly locked down and the Chinese got in. It's nobody's fault, Leo. It just happens.
These things happen. It just happens.
It's
mistakes.
Democracy is messy. I don't know. What am I looking at? It's, I don't know. It's not necessarily malicious, I guess is all I'm saying. It might just be stupid.
Or intentional, but it's not illegal to have an undocumented API.
It could be both. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, we have API calls on our, our back end that are not public. We don't want other people using.
More often than not, though, honestly, I think a lot of these undock. So, for example, like the Windows taskbar and Start menu used to be a thing, and it was evolved and over time. And then Windows 11 happened, and those things were actually rewritten from scratch. But because different code in the operating system accesses code in those code bases, in many ways, the code's still there, right? So third-party apps that take advantage of it can also use it. But at some point, Microsoft is working behind the scenes to get rid of those connections, and they want to get rid of that code base because it's not really, it's being maintained sort of, but it's not secure. It's not actively being developed. They never advertised
it. So maybe they don't feel like they should.
No, I know. I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm just saying the side I'm taking is that there's a responsible way you can handle this, which is to say, look, this is what we're doing.
Right.
Here's the time frame. It's kind of like the new Outlook thing. Everyone hates the new Outlook. I completely get it. But the one thing I will say to this is they've been very clear about them not getting rid of the thing you love until this new thing that you hate does everything the old thing did. And it's going to be 2029 at the earliest. So at least there's clarity to this, right? Like it's you may not agree with the decision, but at least they have a time frame, and it's probably going to go well past that. This kind of stuff, silence, right? They've never really talked about it.
What does Brad say?
I feel like they should
just.
This is for him.
Use it.
They don't use it. He loves this. He wants this to happen as quickly as possible. Every one of his competitors is going to drop off the face of the earth when this happens.
They're smart. Stardock's smart. They don't play tricks.
Right.
Intentionally.
Well, they might play tricks, but they don't. I don't know what they do. I'm not going to. It's Brad. I mean, come on. No, I tricks. No, I mean, they're just not using those APIs. So that was a good decision on their part. It required a little bit more work, right? They have to recreate these things, themselves, but that was the right thing to do. So
they must have sensed that these are not public APIs. Well, these are not documented.
Realistically speaking, you could see it was going to happen. I don't know Windows at this deep of a level, but I think with each new build to each, beta channel, whatever, you can see as things change, and you can see over time, they've been removing their dependencies in-house. And at some point they're like, we don't need the old taskbar code anymore. Mm-hmm. So they're going to get rid of it. It's just taking up space. And is potentially a security vulnerability.
Well, imagine the concept of Windows actually getting smaller over time.
Wow, what a thought!
I just no, but then they threw Copilot in too, so they make up for it. It's they'll pad it with other crap. It's okay.
Like Copilot. Copilot's your friend.
Hey, it's me, Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Windows Weekly. If you want to see more and want to catch the whole show, you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client or visit our website, twit.tv/WW. And of course, there's links right below me.